let's open a new copy. 1.1. The one prelate in the main deck I wasn't a big fan of. I do like dropping the third Savannah for a second Bayou to have still the same amount of green sources, but an extra black source. I really like Abrupt Decay, especially right now. So I kind of want to play probably 2 Abrupt Decays in the main deck. I think because of the Stoneforge Mystic package, I can even take out... Yeah, Knight's an interesting one. Obviously, over time, there's been a lot more removal printed that actually lines up really well against Knight of the Reliquary. Like Fatal Push is a pretty brilliant answer. I could see myself just taking out the Stoneforge Mystic package here and going really hard on the Green Suns package and removal. So this is 59. We still have the Onces, which is nice. Scavenging Ooze is fantastic. Gaddock Teeg is great against the combo decks. To be fair, if I'm not playing the Stoneforge Mystic package, then I do like playing the Collector Oof in the main deck. It doesn't really hit us. Oh, sorry. Let's go to Decktech. There we go. Now we also get to look at the cards that we play with. Once I open up this. Nice. Okay. Let's go back up. What's the big deal with another Reliquary? Maybe I'm just seeing... But all the 3-mana threats, this kind of decks could just seem... I guess, yeah, I guess Knight's pretty nice because you can pretty easily get it out of bolt range in this deck. So for a deck like Blue-Red Delver, it's pretty hard to beat outside of either Submerge or some sort of bounce effect like Brazen Borrower. I guess you could also play True Name Nemesis, which kind of stops it, but to know that we can go, you know, turn 1 Hierarch, turn 2 Knight, and then just have Wasteland online is really strong. If you think about a deck like Eldrazi that, you know, needs fast mana in soul lands and then has big creatures, if we can play a turn 2 Knight that is bigger than Thought-Knot, or at least gets bigger than Thought-Knot or bigger than Reality Smasher, but also can Wasteland on every end step, then it's pretty formidable. It's pretty great in the late game where your opponent just has to deal with maybe like a 12-12, which is pretty strong. The ability to find your one-off Caracas or your Gaia's Cradle if you want to go off quickly is really strong as well. So that's pretty good. It's a very fair card, but I think the ability to get some of the lands that are played in a format like Legacy makes it really nice. Also just the ability to, make sure that, you know, Wasteland from our opponent's end isn't that great, because usually we can just sack the land they're hitting is pretty good. This is 60. We have the Sylvan Libraries, the Once Upon a Times. I do like the Decays, especially against the Delver decks that we had a pretty hard time against. And then the sideboard, the Deafening Silence as a one-off is tough because it's obviously a card I want to see in the opening hand, and as a one-off I'm not really going to see it. I do like the extra Plague. I don't mind the Kaya. I think Kaya is pretty strong. I could see us just going down on this and bringing in something like Path to Exile as another removal spell. Hey, True Hero. A huge thank you for the raid. What did you guys play? Yeah, we just did a league with Abzan Maverick, and now we're just changing the list slightly to accommodate. There's also a thought of Tracker. Tracker is really nice against some of the control decks, and even in the mirror, it can be really good. I think this is pretty good. Hey Ekeel, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? I think this is pretty strong. I'm going to see how this goes through a league. Yeah. Leyline's a little bit risky, but there's a lot of decks that do give you free wins just through Leyline, which is nice. Hey Basic Swamps, welcome. It's a really clean answer, which is nice. If they have Force of Vigor, they have Force of Vigor. But I do like that Leyline just does what Graveyard Hate does best. So, Mother of Runes is an interesting one. I've been really liking Mum in some of the decks where you do want to be able to protect your creatures like Gaddock Teeg or like Thalia. There hasn't been too much Plague Engineer running around, which is nice. So I've enjoyed that. I guess we did have Birds of Paradise in that match against D&T to get black mana, but we didn't have a Green Suns. This seems okay. I'm just thinking about the board and how I would board for the fair matchups, because I want to have at least 6 pieces to bring in, which is Plague Engineer, Tireless Tracker, and Thoughtseize and Kaya, so that's pretty good. I will also update the deck list now. So we'll export this. Nice, and then I will update it here. Cardboard Live. Hey Hero, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? The deck list is now updated. If you guys refresh, you should be able to see it. Alright. Playing a Legacy League. Using tickets. Unfortunately, we are resetting. Nice. Cool. MHV, you should be able to find the deck list on the screen. So over near my life total, or over near the Legacy Starts section, you should be able to see... I need some water. The deck list. Alright, I'll be back in 1 second. Whew. 100% shades. 100% helps. Hey Razza, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Toucan Shades. Yeah, if you guys are looking for the... deck list, you should be able to see it. Here. This is where it pulls out. These 2 cards here. Hey, thanks D5, all the best. Enjoy your D&D. I'm happy to keep this because of the amount of 1-ofs, or the 1-drops. It is a 1-lander, but it is a forest, so... I'm okay with this hand. Okay. Haha. A land would be nice, and it is a land, which is cool. This is going to be Death and Taxes again. Stoneforge is pretty good. Jitte, straight away. Okay. This is an interesting one. I can either go for mana here, or I can go for Sylvan Library. I am going to keep up the plains in case they have Mother of Runes. I think I'd rather just get my mana online. And then next time we can play both Sylvan Library and a Knight. So, I think that's fine. No Mum. Okay, that's pretty good. That means we can probably keep the swords for an attack with the Jitte. I think Green Suns would just be the best draw next turn because I can Green Suns for Night of Autumn on the Vial. Another Knight. Not the greatest. It's probably just a case of Knight here and hold up Swords to Plowshares. Or Oof. Yeah, Oof is probably actually the better play. I do want to play around... I do want to play the library here. I do want to play around Thalia off the Vial so I can still cast the swords. Another Stoneforge, that's pretty good. Could even put in Batterskull here. If I really cared about it, I could swords the other Stoneforge with the trigger on the stack. But this is going to be fine. Definitely a solid start for my opponent. Putting this in now, most likely to Skyclave Apparition. Prelate. I guess Prelate on 1's pretty good as well. Yep. Got me. Oof. And they get to hold up Jide here. I think where green-white does struggle is the go-white strategies, and that's where the black really helps. Yeah, Vial's been really dominant here. I don't mind sacking a forest here to get a Cradle so I can cast the second Knight. Just trying to go big. Maybe we can draw into a Decay off this library. I have 2 unknown cards. No great blocks here either. I could make them use the Mum, but then the Prelate is just really good on swords here. So we're just going to take this. They probably just kill 2 creatures. Probably a bird, in case they're scared of a third color. It also makes Cradle a lot worse. They allowed me to have black, which is interesting. Oh, there's Plague. Okay, that's pretty perfect. And also collect Oof. I nearly want to keep all of these. I can draw 1 off a Horizon Canopy, which is nice. A lot of D&T players, a lot of D&T today for sure. I don't need the Bayou because of the bird, so we can put this on top. And then I don't mind paying for this. Canopy will shuffle them away, that's correct. Yeah. Seeing how I want to do this. I think it's just like this. Plague Engineer first, then collect Oof. Taking a pro, that's fine. Yeah, Giz, that's a great point. I think green, white, red Maverick's in a really good spot, especially with Clots as well as a Green Sun's target. A lot of decks have a hard time dealing with it. And then like crossover cards like Punishing Fire and the blast effects are really nice. It's pretty good. I don't think there's a Maverick deck that is really behind any of the other archetypes. Even Bant did get Hull Breacher to take over from Oko's slot, so having access to Hull Breacher against the blue decks and Uro against the fair decks is pretty sweet as well. And then you get sideboard cards like Metal Image, which do make your matchups a lot better as well, which is nice, so there are advantages to playing the deck. Violent 3. Recruiter, okay. Probably Recruiter for Skyclave. Deck's really lined up well here. Now I probably just want to try to wasteland my opponent. They have 3 cards in hand and just hope that one isn't a land. This is going to be a tough match though. A lot of D&T deck, yeah, today. Do they have the land? No. Nice. No great attacks either, which is pretty good for us. I can cycle the planes, which I don't mind doing, just to make these knights even bigger, just to get a fetch land. And now we get a new look with Sylvan Library, which is really nice. Really want to find another Plague Engineer for this prelate. Not great cards here. Put on top, put on top. I don't mind Windswept Heath, fetch. Go and get Savannah. Float a white. Use this one to draw a card. See if we can get a hit. Even an Abrupt Decay would be huge. I'm going to float green and then try to use 1 green for this, if that works. Yeah. Green Suns would be sweet as well. Another Swords. Yikes. Sword's pretty good. Hopefully still no land for my opponent. We did just fetch last turn, so I'm just going to untap here and see what we draw. Yes! Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that feels so good. Okay, put on top. Put on top. We get to Decay Prelate. which turns on swords. I'm pretty happy here to fetch for a Savannah. Swords the Germ. I just don't want them getting counters on the Jide. So I do want to swords this and then just swing with 2 knights. And then I can hold up swords with the other one. I can swing actually like this. I think this is fine. I could attack with the Collector Oof as well, but then they could double block. They can double block here as well, but I mean, it means they're not blocking the knights, which is pretty huge. They're gonna double block. That's interesting. Hey Damo, welcome. I think the sword here is better than just taking out a Stoneforge here. So this is actually fine, because I do get to kill both thanks to Death Touch. And then just yeah, turn this around hopefully. Thanks to Swords to Plowshares. So we'll see if they hit a land here. They need a land. It's land or bust and they don't hit it, so pretty good for us to get out of that. I thought that we were in dire straits there. Let's take out the 4 Thalias, the Gaddock Teeg, and the Scavenging Ooze as usual. Let's bring in Plague Engineer. Let's bring in 2 Thoughtseize, Tireless Tracker, Kaya, and 1 more Thoughtseize. This looks pretty strong. There's no other changes that I want to take, so this seems good. Whew. Wishy, how's life? How is the coast? I am very much looking forward to Highlander coming up. If you are from Australia and you're from Queensland and you enjoy 7-Point Highlander, which you can, if you don't know what that is, you can find out more information here. Good Games Cold Coast are holding an event, $50 entry, with I believe some pretty cool prizes in top 8, so that should be pretty fun. We recently had an event in Toowoomba that fired with 30, I think 32 players, which is pretty good, maybe 34. Yeah, Knight there was huge. I mean, to get bigger than the Batterskull was awesome, and I think a big reason why Achilles wasn't playing Batterskull in the last version of the deck that we played is because Maverick doesn't really need the 4/4 beater. You have a lot of ways to get creatures that big. Mana Accelerant and Abrupt Decay. That's what I want here. Mana Accelerant and Abrupt Decay. Okay. I like this hand a lot. We have an answer to a turn 1 Mum. We can answer it an Abrupt Decay, a Vial pretty early on, so pretty happy with this. Hell of a bus trip. Yeah, that's fair enough. Toowoomba is pretty, even from Brisbane it takes a little while. All right. So the big question here is that if we draw like a Plague Engineer, I don't need to hit the Mum straight away, which is nice. But if we don't, I kind of feel like I have to. At least we can go off a basic as well, which is cool. Well, there's Plague. Okay. So now I like just Forest into Noble Hierarch. I mean, if my opponent for some reason had kept in Thalia, we could 2 for 1 here. I could just see a Port as well. Stoneforge. Okay. This is pretty fine as well. Plague not being symmetrical is huge. That is very true. Really nice here as well. I could just build up my mana with these nobles, but then we get hit by something like Revoker if they're playing it. I think I like just getting rid of the Mum here. It's going to be a 2-for-1 trade no matter what, because my opponent does have to deal with the Plague Engineer, so let's go for probably a Bayou, because it is, you know, we have 2 Bayous and only 1 Scrubland. And cast this Plague. Name human and pass back. Hey Mia, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what you play in Legacy? Yeah, Agrippa, Heart of the Cards is pretty huge here. Hey Worst, a huge thank you for the raid. Let me know what you're just playing. Bayou is also better if you're playing Scavenging Ooze, but we did side it out against D&T. Looks like opponent's just going for a beatdown strategy, which is interesting. Hey Edu and Ander, thanks for the follows. Let me know as well. Hey Lynn Chalice, welcome. I hope you're well. It'll be interesting to see if they port here, or if they just go for Stoneforge Mystic. It's a pretty good draw. We have multiple things we can do here. I don't mind wastelanding first to see what my opponent puts in off the Stoneforge Mystic, because then I know if I can attack or not, and if I need to hold up Swords to Plowshares. Does Dark Confidant pop up in Abzan Maverick? It definitely used to. Bob was a pretty big mainstay in Maverick for a while. But for card draw, we usually go for cards like Sylvan Library, Tireless Tracker. Yeah, there's some really good green cards that are good. Bob can be a little bit tricky as well, because you can lose a lot of mana to Bob, or lose a lot of life, apologies, to Bob. I could attack for 5 here and just leave down the swords, which is pretty interesting. I think that's actually pretty good. They do gain 4 on the way back, but yeah, I'm happy to build up my board. It also means that next turn we could Green Suns for Questing Beast if needed. It's not like my opponent can get Jide into play this turn, so. You're from France, playing MTG since Zendikar OG and Legacy since Amsterdam 2011. Very cool. What did you play at GP Amsterdam 2011? I believe Julian played at that. For anyone who doesn't know, it's Julian. He's another Legacy streamer and also on the Everyday Eternal Legacy podcast. I believe played Maverick to a top 16 finish, if I'm correct. Back then, natural order elves, very cool. I like that a lot. All right, do they only have a 1 land? Wow, okay, that's pretty huge for us. Let's go for once first. See if we can find like a Knight of Autumn or a Hex Drinker. That's pretty powerful. I actually like Hex here a lot. Hey Dolphin, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? I think I am going to trade the Decay with the Germ here. Getting Scrubland. Hitting the Germ. Attack. Oh, I didn't mean to 5 there. There we go. 5. 2011 is 10 years ago. Nude in the Dark. That does make me feel pretty old as well. Pierre won that GP with Banned Natural Order. Okay, that's very cool. You're from Italy, playing MTG since '95. Okay, got some older players in this. Very cool. Another Plague. Okay. Pretty happy to see if we can tick up this Hex Drinker first. Oh, the Gauntlet Resolve. Wow, that's huge. Now we can just attack with both for 6, which is more than just Exalted. The 90s was 10 years ago? Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. I'm just going to put mana into this and hold up swords, just in case. There's no real reason to. We're in a pretty good position here. I could potentially just put more into the Hex Drinker. It's probably better, to be fair. Opponent just passing here with Stoneforge up. I think here I'm pretty happy just to probably just tick up the Hex and swing back. Okay, okay. 1, 2. Yeah, nice. Nice to start off with a win. The Abrupt Decays are really nice. The extra Bayou definitely helped. Good times against TNT. Protection from everything. Yeah, so one thing to note is that if you do tick up Hex Drinker all the way, you then can't equip it. Because you do have to target with equip. This hand's a little bit rough. The Dried Arbor is pretty bad, and the Knight can be irrelevant, so I'm pretty happy to mulligan this. Hey, thanks, Side Hand. Hey, Magic fanboys, welcome. This is better. I can go for a Savannah into Green Suns, then cast either Knight or Thalia on turn 2. So I'll keep this and bottom probably the second Wasteland. Just because Knight can fetch one up if I need it. Hey, thanks for the follow, Magic fanboys. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what you play in Legacy. Too kind. Too kind. I hope you're having a great weekend. I actually don't usually... I guess I usually stream at this time, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dukes on Twitch. I usually stream Legacy Maverick. I run a website called thegreensunzenith.com, which is dedicated to Legacy Maverick. I usually stream twice a week, usually on Sunday mornings and Thursday nights. You're Danish retired Legacy player, but I still enjoy to chip in. That's cool. Ooh, interesting. Bolt. Okay. At least Thalia here will take some pressure off, but this is going to be interesting to see what happens. I really need to draw land here to get this Knight online, because it will be a 4-4, which is pretty nice against a Bolt deck. But we have to get there first. Verdant. Interesting, just passing with mana up. That's a perfect draw. Let's attack first. Yeah, it's pretty funny if I am raiding someone or I say hey on stream, because a lot of people do say Doogs or Dooges. Yeah, this is an interesting deck. I'm not too sure what it is so far. I'm just going to get a Bayou here because it means I have access to green and also double green for Skoos. But interesting to play Snow Covered. Okay. Plague is okay. We have answers to that, which is nice. Price of Progress would be pretty interesting. Sylvan Library is pretty nice. So we get to Swords Plague. Play Sylvan Library and then just attack for 5. This definitely feels like a Jund deck, so I do like keeping the Abrupt Decay for something like Liliana of the Veil. There's also some thought that if they are playing sack effects, I should keep the Knight back to go and get Dried Arbor in case I do want to stack a different creature to Knight. But at least, you know, losing the Knight is tough, but we do have Sylvan Library to kind of recoup some of our losses, which is nice. Double basic, so no Liliana. Could be like Vraska, Cloths. Okay. Cloths is going to be pretty strong here. We can deal with it to an extent, mainly through Scavenging Ooze. Opponent could also have Fatal Push, which would be pretty good here. They did just have a fetch go to the graveyard, so they can kill the Knight. Ah, my Dried Arbor is in the graveyard. Dolphin, thank you very much. That's a great pickup. Alright. We're at 18 life, which is really nice. So I'm pretty happy taking some amount. And Screws is like the perfect draw here. So, what do I want to do here? I probably just want to pay for the ooze. I don't want to go too low. Play Savannah. Happy to go for Scavenging Ooze here, preemptively. Which means I can eat whatever they target with the ooze, which is kind of cool. Oh, with the clots. They're gonna cling to dust. That's fine. Interesting. So next turn, if they clots me and target a land, it makes the knight a 3/3. Which means it could be bolted. So I'm actually not going to attack here. I'm going to hold up Scooz. Which means neither of my creatures can hopefully be hit. They should target the Windswept Heath, not the Dried Arbor. Because if I eat the Dried Arbor, I get a +1/+1 counter on the Scavenging Ooze. Yeah, they're going to go after the Heath. That's smart. So here I am going to eat it. They might try to bolt something here, which isn't going to work out well for my opponents. We'll see what else they can do. Yeah, they're going to try bolt this. So luckily here we get to float a green, sack a Savannah, knight becomes a 4/4. They're going to respond with something else. Maybe Abrupt Decay? They're going to let it resolve. Let's go and get Cradle. Add 2 green, which gives us 3 in total. And now we can even eat the Cling first. Eat Thalia. And then eat Dried Arbor to make this a 4/4. That's all we have. Hopefully it's enough. Well, they have a trophy. Okay. Well, we will get a basic here, which means we can eat the knight, which is cool. There's no way getting it back, so we might as well just do this. I kind of want a Green Suns. Collect Oof. That's probably dead. It is another creature though, so I don't mind putting that on top and paying for this just to dig a little bit as well. Which means I can attack first. Play Thalia. And then probably just play Oof like this. And pass with Cradle up. Swords. Okay, so let's eat Swords to Plushes. And then I guess I'm just going to eat Trophy and Bolt here. I could take out lands in case they have Life from the Loam. But in case they have like Eternal Witness or something like that. This does seem like a generic Jund deck with basics, which is really interesting. I mean, Clots is a fantastic card to be playing with right now. Yeah. If my opponent wants to spend their turn loaming, I'm pretty happy with that, especially with Thalia on board. It is going to cost a bit more. And just hope what we have on the field is enough to get through. Cabal Therapy, interesting. They don't know our hands, so that's pretty nice. Their name source to Plowshares. Okay, so thankfully they are not here, but if you ever come, you're more than welcome to. Interesting. When it dies, you may have it deal damage to any target equal to the number of lands in your graveyard. Okay, well that's a great... Interesting. That's actually pretty cool with Cabal Therapy. But they can't beat the Use, so... That's pretty good for us. This matchup, I do like the Tireless Tracker. I do like the Kaya. I'm not a big fan of the Gaddock Teeg or the Collector Oof. The Thalias are also a little bit meh. I could see the Prelates coming in over Thalias. Probably Prelate for 2. Thoughtseize is also interesting. Perhaps Thoughtseize is better than Thalias and Prelates. Hey, the Great Revel. There are many versions, which you can find out about on thegreensunzenith.com. There is Green-White Maverick, which is... we have 2 minutes. We got 2 minutes. Here we go. Let's go for a little run through. So here are some versions of 2021 versions of Maverick. Here is a Green-White version, which is pretty cool. The advantages of Green-White is that the mana base is pretty stable. Yeah, you get to run a lot of basics in 4. And then you just have the 2 colors, so you can't get too hit off it. The issue with Green-White is that you don't have answers to go wide strategies, like Young Pyromancer if it gets really big, or Elves can be pretty tough. So that's where Black is pretty good, because then you get things like Plague Engineer, Abrupt Decay, Kaya, which is kind of old tech, but it's still around, which is kind of cool. Choke, you get Opposition Agent, which is kind of cool as well. In Bant, you get access to Hull Breacher, which is nice, especially in a deck that can cast at turn 2 thanks to mana acceleration. You also get Uro, which is a pretty good Green Suns target. And then you also get Meddling Mage for combo decks. How are we going? 1 minute. Nice. For Green, White, Red, which is arguably one of the better versions right now. This is actually a pretty bad version. Here it is. You get access to Cloths, which we just saw against this Jund deck. You also get access to Punishing Fire and Grove of the Burn Willows. So Grove of the Burn Willows is... add red or green, each opponent gains 1 life, and then whenever your opponent gains life, you can pay red for it to return to your hand, so you get to keep getting them back, which is pretty cool. And Punishing Fire got a lot better with Oko and Dreadhorde Arcanist out of the format because they were X3 creatures, which are pretty hard to beat. So you do get those, which is nice, and then you also get access to Elemental Blasts in the sideboard, and Sweepers if you want, like Fiery Justice or Blazing Volley, which is cool. Time, 30 seconds, cool. And then we also have... yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully that was okay. Yeah, I said that because this version literally just has the red cards in it. I didn't update this. I just updated Punishing Maverick instead of the Green, White, Red Maverick. But yeah, a lot of different versions, which is cool. And once you have the Green, White base, it just gets better. So that is very cool. But what's even cooler is the sub from the Great Reveal. A huge thank you. That is really cool. Let me know where you're from. What you're getting into Legacy with. Oh, did we submit? I hope we did. Oh no. Oh no, we didn't. Oh, I thought I pressed the button. This is a tough one. Yeah, that's a punt. Yeah, Fiery Justice is nice because it allows you to deal with multiple threats. And, you know, you can kill a Gomag with it, which is kind of cool. You can also kill a Young Pyromancer and a Delver. A few other things. Hey, not at all, not at all. That is more than fine. This hand, I don't think is that great because my opponent does have a basic heavy mana base, so the Wastelands aren't great. And they are playing Plague Engineer, which currently hits 3 of our creatures, so I think we're just going to mulligan this. This is actually okay. I'm going to bottom a Wasteland and just see if these Knights can get there. Okay, well, Leyline's pretty good. We do have Knight of Autumn as an answer to Leyline, but otherwise it's going to be an uphill battle. That's for sure. Thalia, okay. I should have thought about Wasteland there. I think I would have thought about Wasteland more if I had a 3rd land already. But this is a slow start from my opponent, so... Questing Beast. What are we up against? It looks like Jund. I'm actually going to go after their Taiga here. And my line is next turn, hopefully they don't have a great... They don't have a land to play. I can then play Thalia into Plague Engineer on Dried Arbor to just hit another land. Because they played the... Okay. They played the Dried Arbor out, which is interesting. But cards we saw in game 1 were Lightning Bolt, Cloths, Plague Engineer. Yikes. I think they'd be happy to sack the Cabal Therapy, the Dried Arbor to the Cabal Therapy to hit Knight here. We are up a game, but we didn't sideboard. we thought we sideboarded. You live in North Carolina, but I'm originally from Hampshire in England. No paper events here still, so I'm just enjoying different formats on stream. Very cool. Yeah, that's very true. It's also nice to know that the Leyline's in the deck. We don't actually have great answers to it. Not running like Assassin's Trophy or Force of Vigor in the board. So, that's always interesting. But, yeah, D5, really interesting deck. We saw, yeah, Bolt, Plague Engineer, all Snow Basics. So, Snow Basic Mountain, it looks kind of like, yeah, Junk NicFit. I could definitely see that. Ooh, 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 ooh. There was a thought there to block with my own Dried Arbor on their Dried Arbor. If they get greedy here and try to attack first before they sack to Cabal Therapy, I'm pretty happy to trade here, let's be honest. Yeah, I mean, you need an answer to this Dried Arbor or it's bust. I mean, if I can save these Knights, I'm pretty happy. And my opponent is on a 1 land? Alright, well, we just got a little bit lucky with a Noble Hierarch draw to make sure we have 3 mana next turn. Yeah, nice. Okay, this is what we need. This is what we need. Wasteland is fine. I actually like Questing Beast here over anything else. I'm gonna go for Scrubland. It just turns on all our colors, which is nice. And this Questing Beast is just gonna get in for a ton of damage, which is cool. It also can't be bolted, which is relevant. Yeah, maybe they just didn't find an Explorer. Is Questing Beast better than Thrun? I think it is, because it allows you to... It gives you some reach, which is really nice. I will come back to that question. I think here I'm just going to once first into a 3rd land to cast one of these. Yeah. Ooh. Thalia is actually pretty interesting as well, because it stops them from 2-spelling. That's an interesting one. They did take Thalia with the Cabal Therapy, so they kind of... I don't mind taking Thalia here, because it means we can still cast a spell this turn, which is nice. And still keep pressure going. Hey M-Star, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Hopefully it's Legacy Maverick. Let's be fair. Yeah, Thalia seems really nice in this spot. Yeah, nice. Who needs to sideboard sometimes? Opponent getting a little unlucky with their keep, but that just happens sometimes. Thalia turns off Zenith for Explorer. Yeah, that's very true. That's a great point. Up against the Daddy. Okay. This hand is okay. I can hopefully Once Upon a Time for a Mana Accelerant, so I'm going to keep this. Yeah, weird flex with not subbing a sideboard, but we're pretty lucky. I think my opponent might have kept that hand on the back of Leyline, which is tough. Yeah, Sigurd is interesting because I think Sigurd got a lot worse with Ice Fang and Baleful Strix in the format, but with Ice Fang now not seeing too much play, I could see a situation where it's just a bit better. Ooh, this is interesting. I think it's just going to be Birds of Paradise. But I don't really... Yeah. Yeah, Birds is fine. And I'm going to use the fetch land here to get a Savannah. I could get a basic forest to turn off Wasteland. I actually don't mind that. I actually don't mind that. Yeah, I'm also very glad I won. Titania is interesting as well. The one reason that I don't like Titania is that it's an X3 which dies to Bolt. Oh, they're gonna hit themselves. Okay. So they're gonna try to Dredge next turn. Okay. Okay. I do like Thalia here a lot. I don't mind getting Dried Arbor either. So we're up against Dredge. So some things that I have to think about are how am I going to beat Bridge in game 1? And I think getting Dried Arbor online is nice because if I get Dried Arbor out, I can draw into Wasteland to Wasteland myself, which gets rid of Bridges. So I think it's just going to be Windswept Heath into Thalia. I can decay my bird as well, which is nice. Hey JR, welcome. I hope you're well. Very cool to have so many viewers. This is nice. This is nice. Colosseum's pretty sweet. Alright, I am going to go for Dried Arbor here. And then we're just going to naturally draw into Scavenging Ooze, and it's going to be all good. Hexdrink is interesting. Hexdrink is really nice. Priest is insane right now. Yeah, Priest is pretty good in the format. I don't think I really care about anything here. The Colosseum's interesting, but I think just getting this Dried Arbor online is what I want to be doing. Oh, this Hexdrinker, sorry. Hey Gimpy, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Could have also attacked first. Colosseum is going to kill you, mate. Spatula. Haha. I could see that, to be fair, so I do applaud. The big question here is do I want to hold up to K or Swords to Plowshares? Or am I happy with just ticking up the Hexdrinker? Yeah, I think just to play it a little bit safe, I think just holding up the Abrupt Decay is better. We can also level up next turn as well, so... The races is interesting. I guess because there's no... Okay, so there's no Icarids in the bin yet. There's one Cabal Therapy, which is pretty tough because it can hit the decay, but they need to spend at least 1 mana on the Cabal Therapy thanks to Thalia. Hexdrinker means that next turn I can just swing for 6 most likely if I do tap out. Yeah, they're dredging 6. And then they probably just want a Colosseum, to be fair. Tick up for 1 and then hold up both Decay and Swords. Unfortunately, I can't because I do need to hold up 3 thanks to Thalia for the Decay. Bajuka Bog is pretty legit with Knight, but best case you're getting it down turn 3. So that's where Leyline's just really solid because you get it down turn 1, which is nice. I think I do like just holding up Decay here. It does mean that their busted dredges here are a little less busted. Stinkweed. Okay. 3 Narcomoebas. That's fine. They're going to attack with 1. That is more than fine. I guess in hindsight, the issue is that I'm not really doing anything here because I don't really want to Abrupt Decay anything. Unless they Colosseum. Alright. There's 2 bridges. So thankfully they can't Cabal here because of Thalia. I probably, yeah, what I should have done is actually responded to the trigger of the Narcomoeba. Oh, I can respond? Ah, yes, okay, this is still all good, because thankfully, City of Brass puts a trigger on the stack, so it's all good. Because we can now respond to the trigger by Abrupt Decaying our own bird. And then what happens is the bridges are no longer in the bin, to trigger for them, so we can also respond to the bridge triggers. That's very true, yeah. So that's a nice little win. Oh, Cradle's up. 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. So close. I don't mind attacking with just the Dryad and the Hex here. I don't want to get triple blocked by the Narcomoebas. This is fine. Hey Alex, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? So they get back in Icarud. We'll see what they dredge. They do hit an Ox, which is interesting, which they can escape. This is still fine. There isn't... I guess there is one more Cabal Therapy. So they can try to Cabal Therapy back... or Cabal Therapy the Narcomoeba on Swords to Plowshares, or the Icarud, because there isn't a great attack. There's a bridge and a Hogak, so that's pretty huge. They're going to attack with both. They do just get a trigger anyway, so I might as well just save the 3 life here and let them have a... This does, however, turn on the Hogak, so that's a little bit rough. That's a misplay. That's just me not taking my time as well. That's just such an easy thing to play around, because this could definitely just steal it. I feel like this is just going to name Swords to Plowshares, because it's the one thing that can answer the creature. The Hogak? Yeah, they hit it. Rough, and then they have 1, 2, 3, 4. They have all 4 Icarids in the bin as well. I think this might just be game, unfortunately. Once. Okay. I guess we can once first. What does once want? Once wants Scoos. There's no great way to cast it. I think sadly this is just death. 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Tough one. I guess we can find Caracas, that's true. That's probably better than anything else. Yeah. Dredge is going to be interesting. We do have the ley lines, which is nice. Plague Engineer is okay. I think it's better than something like Gaddock Teeg. Oof is interesting. I think it's a little bit slow. Only hitting LEDs. Hey, Skull Clamp MTG, welcome. Thoughtseize is really interesting as well, especially if I can hit like a breakthrough. Libraries might even be a bit slow. Kai is interesting. I think we can take out some number of Sylvan Library. Probably collect Oof. It is the other Kai, yeah. Knight of Autumn's probably a little bit too slow. That might just be it. I still like the swords. I still like the mana acceleration. Hexdrink is a great threat. Thalia is great. Once Upon a Time is fine because it helps us find Krakus and other creatures, even like Scavenging Ooze. Thoughtseize is good enough with Leyline. Especially if they're on Nature's Claim. Maybe then it's just trimming. Sadly, Gaddock Teeg does not stop Hogak because it's non-creature spells. Haha, hey Cal. Welcome. Yeah, Decay is interesting. Decay might just be a little bit... Like, I don't think Decay my own creatures is a great way to deal with bridges, so... Maybe it's a case of just 3 Thoughtseize and the ley lines. Oof, yeah, Oof isn't the worst, but I think it's probably the worst hate bear here. I mean, even Ramanap might just not be where I want to be. Ramanap does allow me to have some shenanigans with Dryad Arbor and Wasteland, which is okay against bridges, in case the leyline strategy doesn't hit. You think it's, yeah. I think it's between Thoughtseize and Collector Oof here. An extra Thoughtseize would be nice. An extra Oof would be interesting. We did see LED. I'm just not sure if Collector Oof is too slow for LED. It might just be a Knight that I drop here. Yeah, submit. An okay hand, but against Dredge, just not where I want to be. I do want to try to mulligan a little bit aggressively for Leyline. This is an interesting hand because it's turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Hold Up Swords, turn 3 Green Suns for Ooze. I think we do have to mulligan to Leyline pretty aggressively here. Okay, this is actually a pretty sweet hand. I'll keep this and I'll bottom the Questing Beast and the Wasteland. And we can just go Leyline into turn 1, Thoughtseize into turn 2 Thalia. Yeah, I think... Hopefully our opponent isn't on Force of Vigor and is on something like Nature's Claim, but you never know. Or our opponent has a hand with Force of Vigor but no green card. Hiya! Oh, opponent goes down to 4 cards. That's interesting. Okay. I'm definitely taking the Stern Dismissal here, let's be honest. Return target creature or enchantment an opponent controls to its owner's hand. Yes. That's pretty good for us. I wonder if they cast the LED here. They do, okay. Plague, that's pretty solid. But this is better. It's interesting that they're playing that card. Does that make me... I think that makes me a little bit happier that they don't have like an Echoing Truth type of card. Second Thalia is actually really strong if they do deal with the ley line. We now have an answer to Bridge, which is kind of cool. And we know about Careful Study in hand. Yeah, this hand does seem really good, and I think we did get rewarded for mulliganing pretty aggressively for Leyline. Green Suns is cool. It means I can Green Suns for Dried Arbor here, just to build up my mana. I don't think, you know, I have the time to go for Ooze through a Thalia, and I already have the Leyline, so I'd rather just try to get this Plague Engineer online. Yeah, I thought once the Leyline was down, they might use Careful Study to start really digging, but Scavenging Ooze here is a really nice card. Happy just to keep up that 1 green just in case. But this is a board state that's going to be pretty hard for my opponent to deal with. We have a 3-turn clock, which is nice. Always had it, yeah. The Natural Screws was really nice. I guess the other card that I was thinking about with Plague Engineer was Golgari Thug. I guess with the Swords to Plowshares it doesn't really matter. So it's 3 turns if we attack with all our creatures and hold up swords or eat with Skoos. If I play the Plague Engineer here, we swing and it's still 3 turns. So I think I'm happy just playing with the board that I have and not casting anything else. Doesn't change the clock and just gives me outs in case this Leyline does get bounced. Dredge was your first deck. What's the black card where you can pitch a card to give target creature neg 1, neg 2, I think? Is it Contagion? Yes. Instant, you may pay life and exile a black card from your hand rather than that. Put 2 neg 1, neg 1 counters on. Okay, that's cool. Happy to play that. Engineer can hit a blocker that they cast, which is really nice. They still haven't cast the Careful Study, which is really interesting. I wonder if they're just trying to figure out what we have more than just Leyline. There's the Careful Study, okay. Alright. Do we want to change anything being on the draw? Do we want to change anything being on the draw? I think if anything, it's just a once for a Thoughtseize. Hey, Julian. Haha. That's classic. I totally forgot I put it on Instagram, but yes, that's very true. I hope you're well. I hope you're enjoying green-white Maverick at the moment. Yeah, Thoughtseize is much worse on the draw. I'm just not sure if there's something that I want to take here or switch out. I could see just more creatures coming in. Eastern Browns are a type of snake, which are here in Australia. Haha, good thing drop bears only attack tourists. Gears, you know it. You know it. Okay, we got a minute 40 here. Does anyone have any suggestions on any changes to Maverick here on the draw in game 3? Sanctum Prelate should be one-sided, let's be honest. It's just one of those cards that I think would really do better as a one-sided card. I think I'm okay just running this back, honestly. Yeah, I think it looks fine. It's probably the next to the best it can be. I probably just want to see like 2 ley lines if I'm lucky. There's one. I don't mind this because it's still got acceleration into Thalia, which is okay. QB down the road and Hex Drinker there. I think this is good enough to keep because it does have a backup plan of Green Suns. Opponent has also kept 7. Yeah, Zenith for Ooze later, which is a little bit rough because if I do cast the Thalia turn 2, the Zenith is going to come down a lot later. Opponent went to 4, so they obviously tried to find an answer for this. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's fetch for a Savannah and just cast Noble. And hope we get to... Wow, they didn't have an end step bounce. Oh, wow. Oh, Thoughtseize, that's pretty huge. I think we just Thoughtseize and then Thalia. I could also Ooze here. I think Ooze is actually better off a Bayou. And just make them, you know, if you don't have it, you don't have it. It's pretty good. Knight. Happy to Thoughtseize first. Bridge, Careful Study, Grave. Okay. I think it's just the Careful Study so they can't start trying to loot into some sort of removal for the ley line. It's also good to know that they don't have land into the 1-mana bounce spell, so they need to draw at least 2 cards to get there. So I think here I'm happy just casting the Thalia and attacking with the Skoos. So tough spot for my opponent. Obviously mulliganing to an answer for the ley line and just not getting there. Cal is here. Always nice to see white faces in chat. I guess I should also do a quick mention of Everyday Eternal, which is a legacy podcast, which is hosted by It's Julian, and of course Callum Whitefaces, MTG, which recently put out a pretty cool one on Esper Mentor, which I believe Cal took to a first place finish in a recent legacy challenge, which you can find here, which is pretty sweet. Toogs is always the place to be. I like that. I'm gonna get a little snippet of that. That makes me feel good. All right, just a land for my opponent. So that is pretty good for them. Can I draw Cradle? Cradle would be awesome. Nice. 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 I guess we just go for Knight into QB and then attack with everything. Nice. It's pretty good. Sometimes you just gotta call it and it happens. Opponent in a really tough spot. Outside of some sort of wide removal, I don't think they have an out here, which is nice. Name what you need and draw it. Yeah, it always happens. It always happens. Nice. All right. We'll take that win. Very cool. Unfortunate for my opponent. Mulling to 4 in both games 2 and 3. They found the answer to Leyline in game 2, but I thought seized it, and then they just didn't find it in game 3. Yeah, why bother with Brainstorm and Ponder when you can just call it and it comes? It always happens, right? How do I feel like Maverick plays against Infect? I would class Infect as fast combo, especially once they know you're on Maverick, so it can be tough. I think Plague Engineer has done a lot, because naming Human kills both Noble Hierarch and also Blighted Agent. And it also plays around any sort of like pump effects, because the creatures are going to die at some stage. Deafening Silence is also pretty good. It means that if your opponent ever tries to pump their creature, you can just respond with a removal spell and they can't do anything. It can be really interesting. I think the biggest thing is knowing when to use your Swords to Plowshares. That's always pretty tough. Up against MB. This is an interesting one. I don't currently have a colored mana, but I do have a once. Keep or no balls. HC Fox coming at me pretty strong. What are the thoughts on my opponent countering the once? I kind of want to play it around Daze, but I'm not sure if my opponent would Daze it. I am going to keep it. Which I think, you know, at worst, it's a good learning curve for anyone out there wanting to know about these. Ooh, okay. Well, that's actually fine, because against a once deck, I probably don't have to worry about any sort of Daze effects, so I'm happy just to let this slide. And the one thing about keeping it for my turn is that I get to draw a card and then once, which allows me to look at the top 6 instead of just the top 5 in a way. Cavernous Souls. Okay. That's interesting. I wonder if this is like humans? Cavernous Souls. It could also be Eldrazi. That's pretty good. Okay. So we get to once here. Fetch land. Windswept Heath. Windswept Heath. Windswept Heath. You'd guess Cloudpost? Wasteland. Okay. I actually don't mind just wastelanding my opponent off this soul land, because right now with Thought Not Seer, we don't really have a great answer to it. And as we dig, I mean, if we draw land, then this once can start finding creatures, which is pretty nice. There's Cavern, which is a huge play. Like, that's so less scary than a soul land. So let's go for Verdant. Go for Bayou, because it turns on Abrupt Decay and also Plague Engineer. And play Noble Hierarch. And then next time we can play Knight as a 4/4, which is pretty nice. Which gets around Thought Not Seer, unless they have some sort of Elvish Spirit Guide effect. I guess they could have a Walking Ballista. Matter Reshaper, okay. This is interesting. I think just Wasteland into Knight is better than anything else. Even better than Wasteland Temple. I think, yeah, I think Knight is just too good. Unless they're playing like main deck Dismember. I think getting Knight on the board is just, yeah, pretty fantastic here. Does Eldrazi play Wasteland? It usually does. It usually does. Your deck can contain any number of cards named Sensei's Divining Top. I'm going to assume this is a Thought Knot, and I'm going to assume it takes the Swords to Plowshares. But Plague Engineer is also a bit of an issue for them. Swords is just a really nice, clean way to deal with Thought Knots here. Hey Min, welcome. Very nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, Julian, I like your... I think you've obviously got a really nice history with Maverick, and I really want to see your inbox of screenshots, because obviously on your Twitter is the attacking with Gaia's Cradle with an equipped Jide, but I'm sure you have some other ones that are up there. What did they take? They took the Plague Engineer. That's interesting. Green Suns is interesting because I can get Ramanap. Oh, okay. What if I go... Ooh, okay. What if we go... Sack this for Cradle. Yeah. Here we go. Now we get 2 Swords and Wasteland in the same turn. Yeah, this is it. This is the stuff. This is fair magic. Go get Ramanap. Get back Wasteland. Wasteland your Eldrazi Temple. I'm not going to Swords the Thought-Knot Seer just yet. Minas hacked Google. Haha. Drinking wine and coding? That sounds really relaxing. Yeah, I can see Min putting on his jumper and just getting at it. Pretty happy to save some life here and just swords now. No real shenanigans. No great blocks either on the Matter Shaper, so yeah, opponent just going to concede unfortunately. Hey Lord Infect, and hey Zoom in the tire. Thank you very much for the follows. Let me know where you guys are from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? I don't mind the Oof, just in case they play Walking Blister, and I don't mind the Teeg, just in case they play All Is Dust. So I might just trim on the Thalias, and just play like this. I don't think Thoughtseize is that great. I think this matchup is already pretty favored, so I don't have to sideboard too much, and these cards are just kind of nice, so happy to go ahead with this. This is an interesting hand. The Dried Arbor is obviously open to a lot of removal, and that's why I don't like it. I think, although we do have a good matchup against Eldrazi, I do want to have a hand that just allows me to cast all my spells without thinking too much about the mana base, and this is a pretty big one. I mean, if this Dried Arbor doesn't survive, I lose a lot of percentage points, so I'm going to mulligan this. And this is a lot better. I'm going to keep this, and I'm at bottom of the Ooze. This is pretty nice. You're from Massachusetts, USA. I live vigorously through streamers rather than playing non-rotating formats myself. Zoom in on the tire. Welcome. I love that. That's very cool to hear. Just a pass. This definitely makes me want to just cast this Wasteland. Any chance to take out a Soul Land against Eldrazi, I'm more than happy to do. Hey Lord Infect. You're from the south of Brazil. Very cool. I know that I have a lot of Brazilian supporters, which is nice. A lot of nice Brazilian Maverick players like Saito San, which is cool. Eye is interesting. Let's cast this. I wouldn't mind the second Plague. I also wouldn't mind a land. But this is interesting. The Sylvan Library can definitely find us our third land, but it's a case of if they play a Thought-Knot next turn, will they take the library? I think just to play it a little bit safe, I am just going to get the land. I think that's fine. Hidden Gibbons. I wish I knew what that was. This is fine. Hidden Gibbons. Hidden. Ah, wait. Ah, yes, of course. That is the enchantment that becomes an ape. Yeah, it's a green enchantment. When your opponent casts an instant spell, if Hidden Gibbons is an enchantment. Yep, okay. Disappointing that I didn't know it. Yeah, that's fair enough. I apologize. I'm just going to play the 2 Windswept Heath here to play around Wasteland. I could just get basics as well and then cast the Collector Oof, or I could hold up Abrupt Decay. I think holding up Decay is a little bit better. I don't have a segment on Hidden Givens. I will shout it out in the next monthly Maverick, which will come out in next week. So there you go. Apologies, guys. Apologies. This is where Maverick can get... sorry, this is where Eldrazi can get you if they do have a Reality Smasher. They don't, which is nice, but that would have been pretty scary. Why don't I tell chat about the greensunsdinner.com? The greensunsdinner.com is a website run by me, Toogs on Twitch, which is a website dedicated to Legacy Maverick, which is obviously a pretty cool... pretty cool archetype of Legacy. There's a lot of really good players online who played in challenges and do really well. I believe we got 2 top 8s in yesterday's challenge, which is awesome to see. But yeah, it I usually get some content out each week. Oh, sorry, each month. Either around some of the best performing decks. I'm currently doing a matchup series with Phil Gallagher on the D&T and Maverick matchup, which is cool. Oh, it was 1 top 8, the winner was Green White Depths? Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, the deck play is the best shooter in Legacy. Green Sun Zenith. JR, I would 100% agree with that. Personally, agree with that. I'm sure there's some Storm players who would disagree, but I do like it. Ooh, are they running Powerless Jailer? Endbringer. Okay, that's going to be an issue. Yikes, these Abrupt Decays are not looking great. Yeah, even Mind Sensor against D&T sounds very nice, especially with Recruiter in the deck now. Once. Yikes. I think here I'm better just playing this as a draw and just playing the Oof out. Decay really not doing much here. I don't think we're playing matches, we're just discussing. But I do really like your green-white version with Aven Mind Sensor. I think that's very cool. I saw your tweet with your Aven in response to the 5-mana Dark Petition. Very cool. Very, very cool. Even as a Stone Rain, Aven Mind Sensor can be pretty fantastic. This can't block. That's fine. I wonder if I'm better off trying to get a knight on the board. I don't mind blocking here just to get it off the field. It does give him another card, which is pretty rough, but I don't really have a greater out to the Matter Reshaper outside of another Plague Engineer. What is the worst matchup for this deck? Sneak and Show variants are pretty strong. Doomsday is also pretty good as just fast combo that we don't have too much for. It's probably between those two. QB is actually pretty interesting. I don't mind QB. Especially as a blocker for a 3/3 Thought Knot. Seems pretty strong. Teeg is dead. Yeah, Moon Stompy can be rough on the draw. This feels like a Dismember. Oh, this just... Oh, they get to untap this every turn? Okay. This might be weird, but I don't mind going for Thoughtseize on the play. Something like this. Ooze can actually be okay. Might just be a Decay. Yeah, I don't mind 2 Decay, especially if a Chalice does resolve. But I do like that Thoughtseize can just, you know, take a big threat that they kept. Yikes. Yeah, I'll keep this. And I'll bottom probably one sword. Double knight's really nice. And then we can once now... Oh, they brought in Leyline. Oof. Alright, well let's try to hit a Mana Dork. Noble Hierarch. That's pretty good. I think that's better than... The advantage of Noble Hierarch is that if we draw a land, and our opponent goes Soul Land, Thought-Knot Seer, we can play Sylvan Library and then hold up Swords to Plowshares, and then the following turn play a Knight. So I think Noble is better, even though it is open to removal. I think it just gives us a better chance to get out of some sticky situations. Yeah, I think Kaya is a little bit too slow, but it does... It's probably better than some of the cards that we take out. I hope my opponent's kept a slow hand with the Leyline. This feels like a walking blister. That's definitely a reason. Oh, Chalice. Okay, that's actually fine. We can do this. Yeah, I think that, like, Knight's obviously pretty massive without the ley lines, but it's still a Wasteland engine, which I think is good enough. They're gonna Wasteland us. Do they have a way to remove the Noble? No. Oof. I think... What are we doing here? I don't mind all of this. I don't really need the Plague, though. Oh, no, 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 Chalice, 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 Chalice. Oof. Oof. All good. I guess I can attack. Mimic. Interesting. Okay. Put on top. Put on top. Bayou. Probably just hold up Abrupt Decay. I kind of want a Green Suns for one, which gets around the Chalice, and get a Bird of Paradise. But I feel like they have a Eldrazi... a Reality Smasher. The Eldrazi Mimic play definitely means... Or definitely to me seems like they have a Smasher coming, so... I think your artists have to pass, unfortunately, with removal up. I don't really want to be taking 10. Another Mimic, okay. Interesting. Okay. I'm probably happier here just taking this, Abrupt Decaying the Chalice, and the next turn, worst case, Green Suns for Dryad Arbor, hold up Swords to Plowshares. I guess the big question is, what happens if next turn my opponent casts a Reality Smasher, and with the Eldrazi Mimic triggers on the stack, we Swords the Reality Smasher? Do these still become 5/5s, or does the Reality Smasher still need to be around on resolution of the Eldrazi Mimic? Because maybe there's a situation where I can't actually afford to use the Abrupt Decay on the Chalice. It checks last known, they become 5/5? Okay. Member count is a funny interaction with Dismember. Interesting. I assume they then just don't copy or can't copy. Okay, there's a forest. Oh, actually, I think here just paying 4 for this is best. Yeah, like, let's be honest. Get rid of these two. It also turns off the Smasher win. That's pretty nice. Oh, opponent has 7 mana here. Are they going to all his dust? Definitely feels like all his dust. Or a walking ballista? No, they're going to all his dust. Okay, which actually does get rid of the ley line. That's pretty funny. Green Suns for Noble Hierarch for white mana. Opponent has 2 cards left. Land? Okay. Ooh, just a pass. Definitely getting this knight down. Just a pass back. If we can stabilize this, I'd be very, very happy. This feels like a smasher. Another All-Is Dust, perhaps? Surely not. Endbringer. That is more than fine. We have the swords for it. Wasteland is pretty good. What do we want to do here? Is there a way to get more creatures out with Cradle? We're definitely swordsing the Endbringer. And then I think we just play Hex Drinker and then Questing Beast. Double Waste is also pretty strong, that's true. It might just be Double Waste, yeah. I think Double Waste is actually better. Take out probably the Temples. There's some thought just taking out the Ancient Tomb because it turns off anything else. One card left and they have 5 mana. Another knight. Okay. Do I want to play another knight? That's interesting. I think I do. I only have access to 1 green, but... Unfortunately, I can't cradle out a second one. Yeah, cradle gives me access to it. I don't mind that. We can maybe even get lethal on next turn, thanks to Questing Beast. Pump to 4/4 and waste. Yeah, that's pretty option. That's a pretty good option as well. It may have been better to get Questing Beast or a Knight out just to have lethal on next turn. But yeah, another All-Is Dust would be pretty brutal. I think, like, if they play Tabernacle, kudos to them, but we at least get to keep around the Knight, I guess, because the Noble can pay for it. Nice. Yeah, no way they play Tabernacle. I like that. In New Zealand, the league closed 5-0. Nice. Lord Infect, are you from New Zealand? Are you across the ditch? Nice. If you guys like this content, I am on YouTube. All my streams go there. And I also do YouTube exclusive content, so If you do want to find more of this, you can find it on YouTube. I usually do Maverick content, 4-color loam content. I'm a big Death and Taxes player. Is it true that you once fought a Roo? I didn't fight the Roo fought me. I was just there as an innocent bystander, and old Skippy just came at me. Yeah, the Roo started it. Thank you, HC. HC was there. They can back me up. DN Silva, there he is. Nice to be 4-0. Really nice. It'd be really good to finish this off with a trophy, but you can only play games as they come. Up against Clog. Oh, I feel like we played against Clog before. Yeah, they played black, red, green. Black, red, green. Ooh, was that? I think it was Reanimator. Pretty happy to keep this hand anyway. Who won? Supply. Who's streaming right now? Yeah, I didn't see a kangaroo streaming. Pedal. Ritual. Nice. Yes. That's right. Oh no. Is it going to be Oopsal spells that takes the win off me? GG nice 4-1. 100%. 100%. Unfortunately. Look, we had a good run. We had a good run. For those of you who are tuning in and didn't see the last match, and don't know what this deck is, this is Oopsal Spells. Oopsal Spells is a deck that, by its name, doesn't play land. So you get to use heaps of free mana and ritual effects to get something like Undercity Informant into play. Target yourself to mill your whole library into your graveyard. You then mill your Narcomoebas, which when they go into your graveyard from your library, you can put them on the battlefield, so you get 4 creatures. You then have Dread Return, which allows you to flash it back, sacrificing 3 of your creatures to get another creature back to the graveyard, which then you get Thassa's Oracle, which then ETBs, checks your library, and you win the game. Pretty cool deck. Pretty cool deck. You can get mad playing against it. There's a bit of BS, but it is what it is. This is Legacy. Take it on the chin. Unfortunately, we just don't have Force of Will. So we have to watch the magic happen and go to game 2. I do want a Cabal here, so they don't see my hand. This is an interesting one. So I probably want the Thoughtseizers, the Prelates, the Plagues, and the Leylines. I probably don't want, you know, Ramanap. Knight of Autumn's okay. Swords is meh. Decays can definitely go. Scoos is okay. Gaddock Teeg is good because it's upside. Dread Return. The Onces are probably just filler that can get taken out. Collector Oof is okay. Thalia is great. Knights, interesting. What's that? That's 61. Down 1 swords. Fairy Macabre is really nice because it also plays around Force Negation. I'm not too sure on the Swords to Plowshares. I don't think there's anything better here. And at least you can cheese a win, perhaps, if you don't give them all the creatures needed to actually flash back Cabal. That card. Dread Return. Yeah, Force of Vigor, Nature's Claim. I think I really want to see Nature's Claim, because at least we can try to Thoughtseize it. I think this is fine. I think this is the best we can do. It's going to be tough. Fast Combo is a pretty uphill battle for Maverick, because a lot of our plays are on turn 2, so usually the deck has won then, but we'll see how this goes. Just a little bit slow. I want that Leyline. Ooh, Leyline and Thoughtseize and Thalia? Yes. Keep. Probably just bottoming a Thoughtseize here. I could see double Thoughtseize okay, and just keep, and just dropping Bayou. I do want a white source, so I want the Windswept Heath. I probably want a Wasteland as well, just to keep them off anything. I think it might just be Thoughtseize here. Bottom the Wasteland? Seas? Yeah. I guess the issue is, if my opponent has multiple answers to Leyline, then... You know, if I Thoughtseize... Okay, let's actually, like, look at this. We play Leyline. If they have Force of Vigor, they have Force of Vigor. But if not, then say we Thieves and they have 2 Nature's Claims, I can't really hit the other one anyway, so I think it is just one Thoughtseize. And then hope that Leyline is enough. Hey Macross Man, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you are. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? They do have Petals and Chromoxes, but we also have Collector Oof in the deck, which is kind of nice, so... Hopefully this is okay. Opponent's gone down to 5 as well. Thoughtseize you. There's Nature's Claim. Pretty perfect. Yeah, I like keeping the waste with Thalia as well, but you never know. They're paying for this. Oh no, what does that mean? Oh no. Okay. Well, that's fine. Swords. That's pretty good. I think we're just swords here, right? Plays around anything. I can't swords and waste, unfortunately. If I did think about this a little bit more, I could have just gone for a Scrubland on turn 1 with the Windswept Heath. Alright. Hey Supply, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Used to play Astrolabe? That's hilarious. That is actually hilarious. That is really funny. I'm copying that, so I hope you don't mind about that. Why is Maverick called Maverick? There's a few small stories, but I believe the right answer is that the creator of the deck had the MTGO name Maverick with an @ sign as the A. Some players think it's called Maverick because Maverick kind of means like left field, like something out of the ordinary, which it was at the time. So that's pretty interesting as well. Hey, Mark Chalice. Mark Chalice. Why does your name sound familiar, Mark Chalice? Thank you, though. I hope you're well. I think we just run this back. The Sylvan Libraries are interesting. Maybe they're a bit too slow. I could just see the swords coming in if they are going to go for like just a Undercity Informant in the blind and just try to untap with it. Swords is at least an out to that, so I think this is the best that we can do. I actually really like Fairy Macabre in this version as well because we are playing the Once Upon a Times, so we do have ways to reach into the deck as early as turn 0 or 1 to find Graveyard Hate. You were a pro in the 1990s? Very cool. That is very cool. Thank you very much for being here. I feel honored. What did you play in the 90s? And how did you first get into Magic, Mark? You played in the first 10 PTs first. One PT top 8? Very cool. This hand, really nice, but just too slow. I think my opponent is, you know, I do have to, they're going to mulligan to 6. And I think we are going to mulligan as well. I think Leyline's just our best way to try to get something going. This hand is only strong if my opponent plays an Undercity Informant without the mana up. Oh. This is a big no. They mulligan to 6. Okay. This is still a good hand, but... yeah, I think we just have to. Even if our opponent has mulligan to removal for Leyline, I think we just have to go down it as well. Okay. But it's a no-lander. No. Keep? Yeah, it's still better than the other hands. My only thought is mulliganing once more to just lands and Leyline. Lots of lands to draw. If we draw one, we get the Noble online, which is nice. Alright, we'll keep this. We'll bottom the Hex Drinker. A Plague. I don't mind the Scoos, but my only thought is, does this deck in any way move towards an Empty the Warrens win? Or not? Is there any reason to keep Plague here over Scoos? Plague also nice against the Narcomoebas. They don't play Empty, cool. But I guess, yeah. Why not bottom Plow? I'm not bottoming Plow because my opponent a few times has played out their creature that they need to pay 1 to sack, and then untapped with it. So they've kind of put it out in the open. We are pretty unlikely to cast the Plague. That's very correct. I think it is going to be Plague. Oh, so close. So close. Oh. Oh. This is tough. Ooh. Okay. 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 This way next time we can crack Canopy. Opponent at 8 cards. Maybe thinking about how they can... oh, they're going to discard. Cabal Ritual. Swords. I think we just play Ooze here, right? Ooze and just hope. Get to untap with 2 mana that we can actually eat things with. All right. We will. Okay, let's quickly look at this. Is there any reason to play the second Hierarch, or do we just glide this to victory, hopefully, with the Scavenging Ooze and these 2? Just sit here? Oh, I just got here, it's happening. I don't want to tap out for Library. You'd play Library? I think I just want to hold up the mana. I think if anything, I'm happy to play one here. Hold 2 green. Hold 2 green 100%. Okay, okay, that's cool. That's cool. We're holding 2 green. Yeah, I like holding it. We got time. We got time. Nice, 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 nice. Haha, another sword. Oh, oof. Get in. Get in. The beats. The beats. Here we go. Nice. Very happy we played another league. But just gotta make sure we don't do anything wrong. Just keep going. I guess they could get us with maybe Charbelcher if they brought that in. You already live in Australia, no need to take more risks than you already do. Haha! Classic. Nice. Oh, okay, are we drawing a card here? Is there any instant speed shenanigans I should know about? I think that's fine. I feel like that's okay. Nice. Maybe we can draw into like Collector Oof or Green Suns. Thoughtseize. That's pretty strong. We can see what's going on. Nice. Very cool. Very cool to get the 5-0. Nice. That's cool. That is very cool. Nice. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Nice. Alright, let's go back to Decktech. Let's bring up the sideboard. Very cool. Very cool. That feels good. That feels really nice. Let's sort this out. Here are the knights. Removal. Hex Drinker. Swords. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. Let's quickly just sort this out, sorry. Won't be a second. Words. Nice. Okay. That's pretty big. Let's make that bigger. Q&A. Haha. Hey, if anyone has any questions, please send them through. So what do we play against? We played against Death and Taxes, Dredge, Oops All Spells, some sort of Jund deck. I think it was Jund NicFit, and one more. What's the utility for Kaya in the sideboard? So this is a card that I know Achilles 27 is pretty keen on. It's pretty cool because for 0, you can obviously reset Kaya, but you can also reset cards like Knight of Autumn or Plague Engineer that have ETB effects. Each opponent discards a card and you draw a card is pretty nice because it replaces itself straight away and makes your opponent discard, which is cool. And even the drain can be pretty nice. And Eldrazi, there we go, nice. So that was, yeah, Eldrazi, Oops, Dredge. It is 12 AM here, so just a little bit slow for a second. Eldrazi, Oops, Dredge, and Jund NicFit, I'm going to call it. I think that Kaya is a card that you can definitely play around with and maybe do something else. Yeah, beating Oops was really nice. I think the mull there was pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, I think the reason for Kaya against Eldrazi was just that it's better than the cards in the main deck. Hey, Jace. We went 5-0, which is very cool. Very nice. Hey, Agrippa. Unfortunately, we just finished up, but very cool to finish with a win. Yeah, I thought the deck was pretty nice. The extra Bayou was nice as just an extra black source that we could search for. The Abrupt Decays were pretty phenomenal. Not as great against decks like Eldrazi where I thought they would be better, but definitely felt pretty good. What's the matchup versus Hogak? It's pretty good. Their go wide strategy is a little bit stunted by Plague Engineer, and main deck Scavenging Ooze is really good. Source to Plowshares is also just a phenomenal removal spell because it exiles. You do have Collector Oof and Abrupt Decay for the altar, which is nice, so they can't really alter there. And then ley lines in the border are just super good. Just super, super effective because most decks are running Assassin's Trophy, or at least that I've been playing against, are running Assassin's Trophy over Force of Vigor. So they have to get to the 2 mana first before they can get rid of the ley line, and then usually by then you've set up something else like a Knight or a Scooz or... yeah, I think it's pretty tough for Hogak. I do like the matchup because there's a lot to it, but... No Scrib Ranger. Yeah, I couldn't find room for Scrib, and I'm not playing the Mums, so I didn't see too much need for it, but Scrib is pretty nice. Linvala. Is that Linvala Keeper of Silence? That's pretty good tech. I actually played Linvala Keeper of Silence in my pre-Innistrad Legacy deck that I played the League in, and it was pretty phenomenal, especially against the mirror matches, and even Death and Taxes to an extent, because you stop Mother of Runes, Stoneforge Mystic. That's about it. But yeah, Linvala is interesting. I never really thought of Linvala, but I think if Mother of Runes came back a bit more, I would think about a bit more about Linvala. But it's also pretty cool because it is a 3/4 blocker for Delver, which is nice. And also very sweet against elves. I guess the issue that I have against elves, especially in games 2 and 3, is that against Maverick they usually go for natural order pretty quickly, which it doesn't have too much of an effect on. I guess it does stop their mana ramp, but if you're relying on a 4-drop to do that, it's gonna be pretty tough to try to get that online before you have to swords creatures before you land the Linvala. But this list seemed really cool. I could definitely see like these 3, these 4, even these 6 cards here, the 2 Prelates, 2 Chokes, 1 Tireless Tracker, 1 Kaya, all being pretty good flex slots. If you want to run like more removal, like Path to Exile or Assassin's Trophy, you can. Tireless Tracker is pretty cool as just a way to grind against some of the control decks where a 3-drop like another Reliquary isn't as great. Aethersworn Canonist is pretty good. I'm not running Deafening Silence in this list at the moment, but I think Deafening Silence was a big card that people moved towards because it was turn 1 interaction against combo decks. But the issue is that against a deck like Elves, where Canonist is really good, you don't have that anymore because of Deafening Silence, only hitting non-creature spells. So I think the Canonist is pretty great, especially with people saying that Elves is definitely making a return. But it's just making sure you have a good mix of 1 mana or 1 CMC or turn 1 interaction with your combo opponents and things like Thoughtseize or Chalice or Deafening Silence, because the deck does have a few good 2-drops already for combos, so things like Thalia, Collector Oof, Gaddock Teeg, Scavenging Ooze to some extent. But I think you could definitely make room for Aethersworn Canonist, because one of the big things with Maverick is finding a good mix of both pressure and disruption. So something like Thalia is great because it can attack and also provide pressure, whereas a card like Thorn of Amherst does the same thing disruption-wise, but can't attack. Deafening Silence, great for disruption, but doesn't really give pressure. So Canonist is really nice because it does also provide pressure, which makes your opponent have to find an answer to it. Because if you just have disruption, it's kind of just like a speed bump. Your opponent is going to get over it. But if you get a few hate bears together and get some pressure going, then it does push your opponent into corners that they most likely don't want to be in, and maybe have to spend resources on threats they didn't really care about. I did play a Field of Dead version that was just a green-white Maverick deck. That was pretty interesting. The issue is that Maverick doesn't really get to 7 lands. That's the big part. Usually you get to maybe 4 or 5, and then you start churning them out with Knights into Wastelands, or you're using Canopy. So the big issue was, for me, was that I just wasn't hitting the 7 lands, and I didn't have ways to accelerate there. So I didn't run any sort of exploration effects. There wasn't like a Dryad of the Elysian Grove. I wasn't playing any sort of package with Elvish Reclaimer and Flagstones of Trocaire. But there are some really cool green-white decks out now that are playing it. I'll see if I can find a version. Green-white Titan? Yeah, this is more like it. So this is the deck that runs Elvish Reclaimer, which allows you to sacrifice a land, search your library for a land card, put it in battlefield tapped. And it works really well with Flagstones, because you can sack Flagstones, Flagstone triggers, you go and get like a Temple Garden or a Plains or a Savannah, and then you also get a land off the Reclaimer. So this is a sweet deck, because it allows you to really boost your chances of getting to the 7 lands quickly for Field of the Dead. And obviously the deck works really well by going wide, because you have access to Primeval Titan, Green Suns later on, a few other things. Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, this is a sweet deck. I played a league with it that you can find on my YouTube channel, which I will plug here. But I think I played it a bit too much like a Maverick player, where instead of playing, turn 1 Reclaimer, turn 2 flagstones, hold up Proclaimer to then use flagstone shenanigans. I played like a Sylvan Library and then like tapped out for a Knight. I was never expanding my mana when I should have been, and I think that's something you have to do in this deck. So Ancient Tomb sick as well. I would love to play a version with Ancient Tomb. That'd be sweet. But yeah, that's gonna be me. That was 2 leagues. Got the 5-0-1, which is really nice. So pretty happy with that. A huge thank you to the new subs, the new followers, the new YouTube subs as well. It means a hell of a lot. I'm just a small-time Australian legacy streamer, and you guys make it all the better. So a huge thank you. And really nice to get the 501 stream. I mean, that's pinnacle. That's awesome. I will be back on Thursday night, Australian Eastern Standard Time. So that is in 4 days from now, and then minus 5 hours for those of you who are there. But yeah, a huge thank you once again. I'm going to quickly see who else is playing some Legacy and see if we can get there. Mopanda. Matt Soul's playing Path to Exile. Does anyone have anyone that would like to raid? Hey Jack, thank you very much. Moon Madness, thank you very much. Hope you all have a nice weekend. This is a tough one. It might just be... I'm gonna do a quick check. I think it is just Mopanda. Hey Zeman, thanks for the follow. Okay, let's raid Mopanda. Mopanda is great. Really good content. Alright, enjoy your weekends. Thank you very much for coming in and watching. I'll be back soon. Yeah, enjoy your week ahead. Stay safe. I'm Dukes on Twitch. If you want to find me on YouTube, you can find me here. If you want to find me on Twitter, you can find me here. And of course, you can find me at thegreensunzenith.com. I will have some new content coming out this week, which should be really cool. So stay tuned. Cheers. Nice.